Hi there, today we're diving into a problem I'm sure many of us face constantly cleaning, but the mess never seems to go away. Sometimes when I step into the kitchen, it feels like I've wandered into a battlefield. Everywhere I look, there's clutter, and I never know where to start. I get stuck lost in the mess, and it all feels overwhelming. In this video, I'll be sharing simple, easy-to-apply tips to help you declutter your kitchen so you can keep it clean without having to constantly redo the whole thing. I've been using these tips in my own kitchen for the past 3 months, and let me tell you, it's made a huge difference. If you're someone who's busy or has little ones running around, these solutions will be just what you need. The first tip is one I wish I had known years ago, so let's dive in. Number 1, let's start with something very common, kitchen rugs. You know, those anti-fatigue mats or cute little rugs you've placed in front of your stove. They seem like a good idea at first, but they quickly turn into one more thing to straighten, clean, or move every time you wipe down your kitchen. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by this constant upkeep, you're not alone. Instead of dealing with mats that need regular attention, try investing in a good pair of supportive house shoes. They'll provide the comfort you need without the hassle of mats you have to constantly adjust. No more bending down to shake out the rug or worrying about it slipping around. I used to have a large anti-fatigue mat in front of my stove, thinking it would make standing easier. But when I switched to wearing supportive shoes, I realized I didn't need it anymore. My feet felt better, and the kitchen felt more open and tidy without that extra piece of clutter on the floor. Just think about how much easier it would be to clean up without moving rugs out of the way. That's one less thing to worry about. I'll continue sharing more things to get rid of. So if you're not quite satisfied with this tip, stay tuned tomorrow. I'll be back with more ideas to help you clear the clutter. Now, let's talk about something else in your kitchen that's also a common culprit. It's so easy to overlook the front of the fridge, but if you take a moment to look closely, you might realize it's full of magnets, artwork, and random notes. At first, it seems harmless a place to showcase your kids' drawings or keep important reminders, but over time it becomes just another layer of clutter, and that clutter, while small, can cause stress. Instead of letting the front of the fridge become a display board for everything, find another spot in your home to keep those items organized, whether it's a bulletin board, a photo frame, or a designated wall for family pictures. Moving these things out of the kitchen can create a calmer, more focused space. I used to keep all of my kids' drawings on the fridge, thinking it was a cute way to celebrate their creativity. But once I moved those pieces to a dedicated wall in the living room, I noticed a shift in how the kitchen felt less chaotic, more peaceful. The fridge was no longer the first thing I saw when walking into the kitchen, and my mind felt clearer as a result. Clearing that space might seem small, but it has a surprisingly big impact on how your kitchen feels and how much more relaxed you'll be in it. Now let's move on to another kitchen item that can create unnecessary clutter. Countertop knife blocks. They seem so practical, right? But let's be honest, they're also a magnet for crumbs and dust. And who's really cleaning behind it every day? No one. We all know that knife block just sits there quietly collecting more stuff while you search for the one knife that's actually useful. Instead of keeping that bulky knife block, consider an in-drawer knife organizer or a magnetic knife strip. Both options keep your knives organized, easily accessible, and out of sight, leaving you with more counter space. Plus, you won't have to dodge it every time you're reaching for your morning coffee. I switched to a drawer organizer a while ago, and it was a game changer. My countertops are now clear, and cleaning them has become so much easier. No more awkwardly reaching around a knife block just to get to the toaster. And if you're anything like me, you'll be thrilled to discover how much more space you actually have on your countertops without that knife tower taking up valuable real estate. Now let's talk about the next thing that's probably taking up way more space than you realize. Small appliances, they're supposed to make our lives easier, right? But most of the time they just take up space and collect dust. How many of us have a bread maker, a juicer, or an ice cream machine tucked away in the back of a cabinet only to be used once or twice a year? Instead of keeping these gadgets, take a look at what you actually use and get rid of the rest. It's a simple step, but you'd be amazed at how much space it frees up. If you really need something for a specific task, think about whether a multi-purpose appliance would work just as well. I used to have a slow cooker, an air fryer, and a deep fryer, all taking up precious counter space. Now I've downsized to just an air fryer and a pressure cooker, and it's made a huge difference. Not only does my kitchen feel bigger, but I'm actually using the appliances I kept. No more guilt about that unused bread maker. Letting go of appliances you don't use often is one of the quickest ways to open up valuable space in your kitchen. You'll be surprised at how much room you actually have when you clear the clutter. We all know the struggle: drawers full of extra spatulas, tongs, and ladles we barely use. We've all bought duplicates or kept things just in case, but when was the last time you actually needed that second potato masher? Instead of holding on to every utensil in your kitchen, take a hard look at what you truly need. Most of us can get by with 1 or 2 of each basic tool, maybe 3 if you're a frequent cook, but honestly, that's probably it. I went through my utensils recently and was shocked at how many I never used. I kept duplicates of things I never needed, like 2 garlic presses and 4 wooden spoons. Now I've pared it down to the essentials, and it's made a huge difference. The drawers are less crowded, and when I need something, it's easy to find. Simplifying your kitchen tools is a quick way to make your kitchen feel more spacious and organized. Plus, it's one less thing to clean and organize at the end of the day. Let's move on to another common culprit: those extra kitchen linens that seem to multiply on their own. Do you really need 20 dish towels and 15 cloth napkins? Kitchen linens tend to pile up quickly, often because we keep things just in case or because they were gifts. But if you stop and think about it, how many of those towels or tablecloths do you actually use regularly? Instead of hoarding every towel or napkin you own, limit yourself to a manageable number. Choose a set that matches your daily needs, and if possible, keep extras tucked away somewhere else, out of sight, out of mind. Having a set number of towels that you actually use makes it so much easier to keep your kitchen organized, and you'll always know where to find them. I recently took a hard look at my kitchen towels. I realized I had way too many, and many of them were stained or too old to be useful. Now I keep a small collection of matching towels in a dedicated drawer, and it feels so much easier to keep everything tidy. No more digging through piles of towels to find the right one for drying dishes. By cutting down on kitchen linens, you'll create more space in your drawers and reduce unnecessary clutter. Plus, you'll save time by not having to sift through countless towels every time you need one. How many cookbooks do you really use? Most of us keep them because we think they'll inspire us to cook something new, but in reality, they just take up space and gather dust. Unless you're using them regularly, those cookbooks are just contributing to the clutter. Instead of keeping every cookbook you've ever collected, keep only the ones that truly add value. If you have a favorite or 2 that you reference often, great, keep them. But if you've never even opened that fancy dessert book, or you've only made 1 recipe from a cookbook in years, it might be time to let them go. I used to have a shelf full of cookbooks I never looked at. Over time, I realized I was only reaching for 1 or 2. Now I've pared it down to a handful of books that I actually use, and my kitchen feels much lighter. I also store the ones I do use in a more organized way, so they're easy to grab when I need them. Clearing out unnecessary cookbooks frees up valuable space and makes your kitchen feel less crowded. Plus, it's a great excuse to try some new recipes from your trusted go-to books. When was the last time you took a good look at your pantry? We often buy things in bulk or get excited about new products, and before we know it, we've accumulated a mountain of food we don't need or won't use. And then we end up with expired cans, half-open packages, or duplicates of things we already have. Instead of keeping your pantry overstocked, take inventory and only keep what you actually use. If something's expired, toss it. If you have multiple bags of flour or sugar, consolidate them. And if you're not planning to use that jar of pesto you bought on a whim, donate it. I used to have a pantry full of items I rarely touched. After going through it, I found expired boxes of pasta, extra bags of rice, and a bunch of condiments I'd forgotten about. Now, I keep it simple. Everything in there is something I use regularly, and I found it's much easier to keep my kitchen organized. An organized pantry doesn't just save space, it makes meal planning and cooking more efficient. You won't waste time searching for ingredients you forgot you had, and you'll stop buying duplicates. Now, let's move on to another part of your kitchen that often becomes a catch-all for random items: food storage containers. How many mismatched food storage containers do you have? You know, the ones with no lids, the ones you can never find the matching lid for, and the ones you're holding onto just in case. Over time, these containers multiply, making your cabinets look more like a messy Tetris game than a well-organized kitchen. Instead of keeping a pile of mismatched containers, take the time to go through and get rid of the ones that don't have lids or that are just taking up space. It's better to have a few good quality containers with matching lids than a dozen that are hard to keep track of. I used to have a drawer full of random food storage containers, some with lids, some without. After going through them, I kept only the ones that fit together and were useful. Now everything is neat and I don't have to search for lids anymore. By simplifying your food storage containers, you'll save a ton of space and it will be so much easier to find what you need when you're prepping meals. Plus, you won't feel like you're drowning in mismatched plastic. Next up, let's talk about something that many of us have in excess: coffee mugs. How many coffee mugs and drinking glasses do you really need? It's easy to accumulate a collection over the years. Mugs from vacations, mugs given as gifts, and random glasses you pick up here and there. But in the end, they just take up space, and most of us only use a few of them regularly. Instead of holding on to every mug or glass you've ever received, clear out the ones you don't use. Keep only the ones that you actually love or use often and make sure they fit your family's needs. You don't need a different mug for every occasion. 1 or 2 per person is plenty. I recently went through my collection of mugs and glasses and was surprised at how many I didn't even use. I kept a few favorites and donated the rest. Now the cupboard feels so much more organized and I'm not digging through a pile of mugs just to find my go-to one. Simplifying your mug and glass collection frees up space in your cabinets and makes it easier to put things away. Plus, it's one less area in your kitchen that can add to the clutter. Kitchen decor. It's supposed to make your space feel cozy, right? But sometimes we go overboard with it. The cute jars, decorative trays, and even the fancy dish towels can start to make your kitchen feel more cluttered than charming. Instead of filling every available surface with decor, keep it simple and functional. Opt for a few pieces that add character without overcrowding the space. A nice plant, a stylish bowl for fruit, or a functional cutting board can all contribute to the atmosphere without overwhelming the space. I used to have various decorative items on every countertop, but when I pared it down to just a few things I actually use and love, the kitchen instantly felt more peaceful and less stressful. I've even noticed that it's easier to clean around and keep everything tidy when there isn't so much clutter. By simplifying your kitchen decor, you're not only creating a more organized space, but you're also making it easier to maintain. Sometimes less really is more when it comes to creating a calm and functional kitchen. Now that we've tackled the clutter, it's time to enjoy the extra space. Baking dishes, how many do you really need? It's so easy to accumulate a ton of them over the years, especially if you've ever done a lot of baking or hosting. But most of us only use a few pieces regularly. The rest just sit there taking up precious cabinet space and maybe even getting in the way when you need something else. Instead of holding on to every casserole dish or cake pan, keep only the ones you use. If you've got duplicates or dishes that are too heavy to use often, it's time to let them go. You don't need 5 different sizes of casserole dishes. If you only make one size regularly, keep what's practical for you and your family. I used to have a pile of baking dishes I hardly ever used. After going through them, I realized I only used 2 or 3. The rest, they were collecting dust and taking up space I could use for more frequently used items. Once I got rid of the extras, my cabinets were cleaner and I had more space for the things I actually need. By simplifying your baking dishes, you're not just decluttering your kitchen, you're making it easier to find what you need when it's time to cook or bake. Plus, it's one less thing you'll need to clean after meals. So we've covered a lot of simple yet effective tips to help keep your kitchen tidy and easy to maintain. And these small changes won't just save you time on cleaning, but they'll also create a more peaceful and functional space. If you're tired of rummaging through drawers or spending your whole day cleaning without seeing any results, try these steps one by one and you'll notice the difference. Sometimes a small change is all it takes to make you feel more at ease in your own space. If you want to learn more ways to declutter other areas of your home, I have another video that can help you with that. Be sure to check it out right after this one. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos. You deserve a space that's easy to manage and feel at peace in every day.